Hey everyone, Jenny here with Sports Day Tribune, bringing you the latest on Caitlin Clark's rough playoff debut. Let's dive into what went down in the Fever vs. Sun game. So picture this. It's 90 seconds into the game, and boom. Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's shining rookie star, takes a finger to the eye from Connecticut Sun's Dijonai Carrington. Now we've all had those moments where we accidentally poke ourselves in the eye, right? But this looked like it hurt. Clark went down hard, clutching her face. You could practically feel the collective gasp from the crowd. And get this, no foul was called. The game just kept going. Talk about adding insult to injury, right? Now, I've watched that replay more times than I care to admit, and let me tell you, it doesn't look great for Carrington. There's been some chatter online about whether it was intentional or not. I mean, I'm not here to point fingers, but that hand motion, it's raising some eyebrows, that's for sure. Clark, being the trooper she is, didn't let it stop her. She got back up and kept playing. But here's the kicker. By the end of the game, she was sporting a pretty noticeable black eye. Talk about leaving a mark, literally. After the game, Clark addressed the incident.
Yeah, obviously got me pretty good in the eye. I don't think it affected me, honestly. I felt like I got good shots, they just didn't go down. And obviously a tough time for that to happen. I got some really good looks. I felt I had three pretty wide open threes in the first half that you usually make. So that's tough, but I felt like I battled and tried my best. Took care of the ball better than I usually do, which is a positive. But overall, coach said in the locker room, we were down 3 in the first quarter, down 5 second quarter, and then lost by 3 in the third. We were right there, and I felt like we just played a crappy game. The flow of the game was really bad. I don't know if that was the referee, and it's probably partly us because we struggled to get stops at times, but also the clock getting messed up. It was just one thing after the next. But yeah, overall, it didn't bother me. Obviously, it didn't feel so good when it happened, but it's what it is.
Front row on the right.
She said, obviously, she got me pretty good in the eye. I don't think it affected me. I got good shots, they didn't go down. It's a tough time for that to happen. Had 3 wide open in first half that I usually make. It didn't feel good when it happened, but I don't think it affected me. Now, I don't know about you, but if I had just taken a finger to the eye and was rocking a shiner, I might not be so gracious. But that's Clark for you. Always keeping it classy. Let's talk about Clark's performance, though. It wasn't her best showing, that's for sure. She ended up with just 11 points, way below her season average of 19.2. Her shooting was off too, only making 24% of her shots and a mere 15% from three-point range. Ouch. But here's the thing, even on an off day, Clark still managed to dish out 8 assists. That's right around her season average of 8.4 per game. So even when her shot's not falling, she's still making plays happen. Now, I've got to address the elephant in the room, the rivalry between Clark and Carrington. It's no secret that there's been some tension there. Remember back in June when Carrington seemed to mock Clark for overselling a foul call? Yeah, that happened. And then there was that whole thing where Carrington criticized Clark for not speaking out more on social issues. It's come on, can we just play some basketball? But here's where it gets interesting. Later in the game, Clark seemed to get a bit of payback. There was a moment where she threw out her left arm and elbowed Carrington in the face while being guarded. It knocked Carrington's contact out of her eye, and play had to stop so she could find it on the floor. Now, I'm not saying it was intentional, but, well, you know what they say about karma. The Sun ended up winning the game 93-69, which is a pretty brutal loss for the Fever. It's not the playoff debut Clark was probably hoping for, that's for sure. But let's put this in perspective. Clark's had an incredible rookie season. She set a WNBA record with 337 assists this season. That's huge. And sure, she also led the league in turnovers with 5.6 per game. But hey, you've got to take risks to make those big plays, right? And let's not forget, Clark is the reason the Fever are even in the playoffs. This is their first postseason berth since 2016. That's a big deal. Now, some folks might be wondering if this eye poke incident is going to affect Clark's performance in the rest of the series. But if you ask me, I wouldn't bet against her. This is a player who's shown time and time again that she can bounce back from setbacks. Remember, we're talking about the NCAA's all-time leading scorer here. She was the top pick in this year's WNBA draft for a reason. One rough game doesn't change that. But let's talk about the bigger picture here. This incident has sparked a lot of discussion about physicality in the WNBA. The Sun are known for their tough, physical style of play, but where do we draw the line between aggressive play and dangerous moves? I mean, we want to see competitive basketball, sure, but we also want to make sure players are safe out there. It's a fine line to walk. And then there's the whole issue of officiating. How did that eye poke not get called as a foul? It's moments like these that make you wonder if the league needs to take a closer look at how games are being officiated. But here's the thing. Despite all this drama, Clark is keeping her head up. After the game, she said, "We can win. It's not anything about the building. It's not about the gym. It's not about the hoops. I have all the confidence in the world in this team, and everybody in the locker room does, and I know we'll be a lot better on Wednesday." That's the kind of attitude you want to see from a star player. No excuses, just focus on the next game. Speaking of the next game, the Fever are in a tough spot now. They need to win the next 2 games to stay in the playoffs. Game 2 is coming up on Wednesday, back in Connecticut. If they manage to win that one, they'll force a decisive Game 3 back in Indianapolis on Friday. It's going to be interesting to see how Clark and the Fever respond to this loss. Will they come out swinging in Game 2? Or will the pressure of elimination get to them? One thing's for sure, all eyes are going to be on Clark. How will she bounce back from this tough game? Will there be any lingering effects from that eye poke? And let's not forget about Carrington. Is she going to face any consequences for that eye poke? Even if it wasn't intentional, it's the kind of play that the league might want to take a closer look at. You know, it's moments like these that really test a player's mettle. Clark has been under the spotlight all season, but this is different. This is playoff basketball. The stakes are higher, the pressure is more intense. But if there's one thing we've learned about Caitlin Clark this season, it's that she thrives under pressure. She's the kind of player who rises to the occasion when the chips are down. So yeah, she had a rough game. Yeah, she took a finger to the eye. But don't count her out just yet. Something tells me we haven't seen the last of Caitlin Clark in these playoffs. Now, let's talk about the fan reaction to all of this. Social media has been blowing up since the game. There are people analyzing every angle of that eye poke frame by frame. It's like CSI WNBA out there. And the opinions? Oh boy, they're all over the place. You've got people calling for Carrington to be suspended. You've got others saying it was just an accident. No big deal. And then there's everyone in between. It's a reminder of just how passionate WNBA fans are. They're engaged, they're vocal, and they're not afraid to share their opinions. That's what you want to see in a fan base. But it also puts a lot of pressure on the league. How they handle this incident could set a precedent for future situations. It's not an easy position to be in. You know, it's moments like these that really showcase the growth of the WNBA. A few years ago, an incident like this might not have gotten much attention outside of diehard fans. But now, it's national news. It's trending on social media. People are talking about it. That's a testament to players like Caitlin Clark, who have helped bring more attention to the league. Love her or hate her, you can't deny that she's been a game changer for the WNBA. But with that increased attention comes increased scrutiny. Every move, every play, every decision is under the microscope now. That's the price of success, I guess. As we look ahead to Game 2, there are so many questions. How will Clark's eye heal up? Will there be any lingering effects? Will the Fever make any adjustments to their game plan? And what about the Sun? They've got to be feeling pretty good after that dominant win. But they also know that Clark and the Fever aren't going to go down without a fight. It's setting up to be a really interesting series. And hey, isn't that what playoff basketball is all about? The drama, the tension, the unexpected twists and turns. You know, as I'm sitting here talking about all this, I can't help but think about how far women's basketball has come. We're dissecting plays, analyzing strategies, debating calls, just like we do with men's sports. That's progress, folks. That's what equality in sports looks like. We're not there yet, not by a long shot, but moments like these. They show us how far we've come. So yeah, Caitlin Clark had a rough night. She took a hit, her shots weren't falling, her team lost. But in the grand scheme of things, this is just one chapter in what's shaping up to be a pretty incredible story. Will Clark bounce back in Game 2? Will the Fever force a Game 3? Or will the Sun close out the series? I don't know about you, but I can't wait to find out. One thing's for sure, I'll be tuning in on Wednesday night. And something tells me I won't be the only one. Because that's the thing about Caitlin Clark. Even on her off nights, she's must-see TV. So there you have it, folks. That's the latest on the Caitlin Clark eye poke saga. It's been a wild ride, and something tells me it's not over yet. Stay tuned to Sports Day Tribune for all the latest updates. This is Jenny, signing off. Until next time, keep your eyes on the game, and maybe wear some protective goggles, just in case.